Hello once again and welcome to another review, this time of the 1/6 scale Char Aznable figure. So as you can see, this figure is based off of Char Aznable, the main bad guy from the original Gundam series. And we'll start off with the unboxing. So I got this figure from AliExpress and surprisingly it came incredibly well wrapped. Usually a lot of the stuff I've bought off AliExpress has just been, here's a load of sprues in a bag, and you have to actually select the box separately. And even then, it's a bit of a lottery whether any of the parts might have been damaged in transit, but this was incredibly well wrapped. Actually, it was a bit of a challenge for me to get into the packaging itself. The box is pretty cool. This isn't an official product. This is a Chinese third-party Char Aznable figure, shall we say. But the box is really nice. Opening up, you can see, like most figures, it comes in a bit of a blister packet. There's some instructions there talking about how to use a hairdryer to heat up the plastic to make it a bit softer. And you get this cool playing card thing. It does have a QR code on the back. I haven't used it. I don't really care. It just goes with the figure when I display it. And opening up, you can see what it comes with. This crazy long pistol. Pew. Some different posing hands. This one is a bit of a saluting hand for the right hand. And a few others. I get my hobby knife out here just to make it a bit easier to get them out of the blister packet. Luckily this blister packet's quite easy to get in and out of. The parts aren't too tight. Some of them, if anybody has bought toys or pieces before, will realise they're awful. So you get a sort of holding hand and a fist for both the left and the right hands. The gun itself doesn't peg in anywhere, but the hand with the trigger finger is already on the model itself. So here's one of my favourite additional bits. Char Duck. Look how cool he looks. So as you can see, he's got Char's helmet on, which will make sense in a minute. It actually confused me for a second how to switch these around, but he's super cute. I love Char Duck. And now the main event, the actual Char doll itself. Kids, don't put plastic bags on your head, that's dangerous. Not sure why Char's doing that. Sure he has his reasons. But as you can see, it's mixed media. Take a look at the helmet. You basically pull his hair off, and then you can swap it around for his trademark helmet. Looks a bit weird without it, but now all of a sudden it makes sense why you have the Char Duck. It's a place to store the other head sculpt. As you can see, whatever one you're not using, just pop it on there for when you display the duck with the model itself. And it's pretty cool. It's massive. 1/6 scale is super large. You know, we're talking perfect grade size figure here. And you'll see that when I do the measurements later. It does have a holster for his giant pistol. I wish it was a bit more colourful. That just being in that plain white or grey is a bit bland, but it's accurate, I suppose. Bit of a 360 of the figure. And like I said, this is mixed media. I think most of the doll is vinyl, whereas the clothes are fabric, which is quite cool. It's worth pointing out these ball joints for the hands. So you're supposed to take them off. That ball joint shouldn't come off. The peg there should hold it in place. I think if you swap this around a lot, I think that peg's going to snap. So I wouldn't advise swapping hands around any more than you really have to. That looks like a real structural weak point to me. Now I've got him imposed. I think I'll just keep them on display and probably won't swap them around. The hands go into the drawer of Gunpla junk spare parts, if I'm brutally honest. I think all of us have one of those. Anybody who's been making kits for a while probably has a box or a tub or a drawer that's just filled full of all the spare beam effects and hands and other bits that you get with your models. So I'm trying to pose him. He doesn't come with any way to connect him to a stand. There's no like peg hole, which is probably fortunate, this being a doll. Or it could have come with a stand or something. I'm sure I could use one of those ones that clip around the waist that you use for action figures. I think that's probably the only way I'll display it, but this is a big doll, so I'm not sure if I can get a base that will do that, a stand that will do that. As I said, it needs a stand. It just falls over, so it can't support its own weight. Quite a few of the joints are very weak. I'm not saying I'm expecting ratchet joints, but it would have been nice for them to be a little bit more stronger. This is Char, after all. So I spent a little bit of time messing about, trying to get him into poses. He just can't hold his weight very well. There's a handful of poses that he will stick together. This one's a bit frankly ridiculous, but I just thought it was funny messing about, seeing how he can pose and seeing if I could get him in a silly pose to be displayed in. There he goes again. Yeah, just that will not stand up. He will fall over. So we're going to get on to the review. I quite like this kit. It cost me 50 quid, just under, I think about 49 including shipping. It does come with those 2 head sculpts and 5 alternate hand parts, so it's not a massive amount of extra bits, but the action duck to display the other head sculpt is worth the price of admission. And it comes with that gun and a display card. And it looks great once you pose him and get him in place. Because he's so big, he has a ton of shelf presence. There he is next to the perfect grade Char Zaku, my last video. And he looks great. Again, pointing out the problems with posing. If you take a look at his left leg, how I've had to get his leg almost rotated in some weird angle to make him stand up. That was the only way that he wouldn't topple over whilst he was on this revolving platform. And here he is posing, saluting, which is actually how I have him next to the Zaku on my display shelves. It's one of the easiest ways to make sure he doesn't fall over. There's high grade Zaku for scale. As you can see, just shows even more how giant this model is. And when I put the tape measure there, you can see it's almost 13 inches tall. It's about the same size as that perfect grade Zaku. So there's Char Duck. I even measured Char Duck. It's about 3 inches tall. And yeah, what a wonderful kit. If you're a fan of Char, I recommend buying it. It looks great with any perfect grade or master grade Zakus that you have. And overall, for 50 quid, it's not a bad little kit. Well worth the price. I hope you enjoyed the video and looking forward to the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.